Well, greetings, beloveds, and to those watching later online. We're so glad you're watching online, and we do encourage you, if you are able, to come be with us in person. We know a lot of people are traveling over the summer, and we're just so grateful that you continue to watch and also that you share your comments, your likes, and let us know how we're doing. So yesterday was not just any July 4th. It, of course, marked the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. A quarter millennium since a group of people declared a vision of freedom that shaped the trajectory of a nation. And that is a milestone that should have felt joyful for every single person. But for many of us, it didn't. And if it did for you, that is absolutely wonderful. And I also want to honor the millions of people that felt disillusioned and confused and disappointed or unsettled or discouraged or simply tired. And I want to acknowledge that for many, that it felt complicated. It was a complicated day in many ways because so much of what we hold feels so fragile right now. You know, a recent survey, and actually I think it was on CBS of all places that we watched this morning, it said that at the last 200 years of celebration, no, actually, I take that back. In 2001, 66% of Americans felt proud to be American. And according to CBS and a recent survey, that number has dropped to 33% right now. I thought that was very interesting. So I want to say this very clearly. Whether you are in a space of celebration or not, it is okay. It is spiritually mature and spiritually honest to acknowledge when celebration doesn't match the moment for you. It is spiritually courageous to tell the truth about how we're feeling, because we don't have to pretend. We don't have to manufacture enthusiasm for things that we don't feel. Spiritual freedom doesn't require us to feel cheerful. Spiritual freedom asks us to be awake. Awake to our own experience, awake to the world around us, awake to the deeper truth that even in unsettled times there is an orientation within us that leans towards what is good and what is true. The divine is that inner compass that keeps turning us toward integrity even when the world feels misaligned. Albert Camus said this: freedom is nothing but a chance to be better. Isn't that great? Freedom is nothing but a chance to be better. So today, instead of talking about independence, I'm going to talk about spiritual freedom, the kind of freedom that doesn't depend on circumstances, political climate, or the world, the state of the world, the kind of freedom that gives us roots when we feel rootless, courage when we feel fearful, and authenticity when we feel like hiding. Spiritual freedom is not just the freedom to feel good. It is the freedom to stay awake, connected, compassionate, and courageous, even when the world feels heavy. And that's the freedom that we need right now. Spiritual freedom begins with honesty and the willingness to tell the truth about our inner life, not the polished truth that we think we should say. I should say this. I should be there, so I will say that. No, but the real truth of how we're meeting the moment. And many of us are watching the world and wondering how to hold hope and how to stay spiritually grounded, and that is part of being spiritually truthful. Spiritual freedom doesn't ask us to cheer up. It asks us to show up. And spiritual honesty asks us to meet the moment with willingness instead of pretense. It invites us to trust that the divine in us is not fragile, but remains whole even when life feels complicated. And spiritual honesty just really asks us to stay awake. Awake to the deeper truth that clarity within us doesn't collapse under uncertainty. Spiritual freedom is also the freedom to be real, to acknowledge the truth of where we are emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically. And spiritual freedom is not about perfection, but it is about being real with ourselves, with God, and with each other. Say this with me. Spiritual freedom is refusing to abandon our humanity in the name of spirituality. The spiritual path is not about rising above our experience. It is about bringing consciousness, compassion, and courage into our experience. Now, when life feels heavy, I don't know about you, but when life feels heavy for me, the temptation is to withdraw a little bit. Anyone else? You're like, I'm just going to go hide away a little bit, to isolate, to stuff it down, to go numb. But spiritual freedom reminds us that we are not meant to navigate life alone. When geese navigate long distances, they fly in a V formation. And scientists have studied this for years. And the pattern is astonishingly purposeful. The goose at the front breaks the wind resistance, making it easier for the other geese to follow. But that lead position, it gets exhausting. And so when the front goose grows tired, it doesn't push through. It doesn't pretend it's fine. I alone have got this. No, it simply falls back. And another goose instinctively moves forward to take the lead. And in that, there is no guilt, there's no drama, there's no apologies, there's just shared instinct, shared rhythm, and shared responsibility. Each goose leads when it can, and each goose rests when it needs to rest. Because they rotate that leadership, the entire flock can travel distances no single bird could ever manage on their own. Humans could learn a lot from that. Spiritual freedom is staying connected by remembering that our pace, our energy, and our well-being are part of a larger whole. We don't have to carry everything by ourselves. We move through life in a rhythm of giving and receiving, leading and resting, trusting that the connection is one of the ways that Spirit moves through us. And that shared rhythm, that willingness to move together rather than alone, is the doorway to interdependence, which was our daily word today, which Sandra read for us. Now, yesterday was about independence, but today I invite us to celebrate interdependence, because interdependence is what builds humanity. The spiritual truth is that we do not exist as separate beings. Interdependence is the architecture of creation. Margaret Wheatley said, "Nothing exists as an independent entity. What happens to one plant, animal, or human affects all others." And we do know that to be true, because this is not just science either. It's spirituality, and it is unity. It's the recognition that the divine expresses through connection, through the ways our lives lean toward one another, influence one another, and sustain one another. And interdependence invites us to see ourselves as part of a field of shared strength, shared responsibility, shared compassion. It reminds us that our choices are never isolated. Interdependence is the freedom to know that we belong to one another and to live our lives as if that matters, because it does. Now, I've come across numerous declarations of interdependence over the years, and I came across another one as I was preparing my message this week. And I found this new one really resonated with me, particularly one section, which I'm going to read right now, share with you. It says, "We are one global family. We affirm that our planet is one and its resources belong not to any one group or nation, but to all of humanity. The suffering of one is the suffering of all, and the joy of one is the joy of all. We commit to transcending the divisions of race, nationality, and ideology in the pursuit of a common good, a world where every person has the opportunity to thrive in dignity and peace." Do you think that could have been written by someone from Unity? It really seems like it. Who agrees with that statement right there? Yes. Now, I love this so much, and I especially love the way that the word transcending is used here. In spiritual circles, transcending is often used to mean rising above the human experience, floating above grief or anger, or becoming untouched by the world. And that can actually be a form of spiritual escape, a way of avoiding the real emotional and relational work of being human and divine, divine and human. And for me, genuine spiritual transcendence isn't about leaving life behind. It's about expanding our capacity to meet life with courage, clarity, compassion, and connection. It's not rising above humanity. It's about the spiritual responsibility of transcending those things that keep us separate. Now, this is the kind of ethically awake transcendence I can and do embrace. Transcending to the common good, transcending to compassion, transcending to interdependence. And this is something I can hold on to and get excited about. Something I believe we are called to do on our spiritual path in our own imperfect ways, to live as people who are ethically awake and committed to the well-being of the whole as we keep doing our very best to evolve as members of humanity on a spiritual journey. And that brings me to the full vision of the Declaration of Interdependence, which includes the excerpt I read just a few minutes ago. Now, in a moment, I'm going to share this, and I am not going to deny that when you hear it, or when we hear it, it can feel extremely lofty and idealistic. And it can feel like something meant for a more unified, a more compassionate, a more stable time than the one we are living in right now. And so what are we to do? Do we just dismiss it because it feels out of reach? Do we just shrug and say, well, that's beautiful, but it's not realistic? Do we let the heaviness of the world convince us that visions like I'm going to share you no longer matter? Or do we take a different approach? Do we ask ourselves, what is one thing in this declaration that I can hold on to? One thing I can practice? One thing I can embody? So as you take in this very contemplative expression of interdependence, listen for one thing that resonates for you. And there may be many more, but at least find one. One phrase, one idea, one thing you can practice in your own way, one thing you can embody and live to to the best of your ability.
A declaration of interdependence for humanity. We, the people of this earth, in recognition of our shared humanity and our collective responsibility to the world that sustains us, do hereby proclaim this declaration of interdependence. With unwavering resolve, we acknowledge the interconnectedness of all life, and with reverence commit to upholding the principles of unity, compassion, and stewardship for the flourishing of all living beings. We declare that one, all life is sacred. We affirm that every living being, from the smallest microorganism to the grandest tree, holds inherent value. We recognize that the ecosystems of which we are part are fragile and precious, and that each part plays a vital role in the intricate web of life that sustains our planet. 2. Humanity is part of, not above, nature. We acknowledge that humans are not separate from, but intricately woven into the fabric of nature. Our actions, both individually and collectively, have profound effects on the environment, and we recognize that the health of our planet is inseparable from the health of our species. 3. Interdependence is the foundation of peace. We affirm that true peace is not achieved through division or isolation, but through understanding and cooperation. Our fates are inextricably linked, not only with one another, but with the animals, plants, and all natural elements that share this world. In this interconnected reality, to harm one is to harm all. To uplift one is to uplift all. 4. Our stewardship of the earth is a sacred duty. We recognize the responsibility to care for the earth, not as owners, but as caretakers entrusted with its care for future generations. We vow to protect its waters, air, land, and all its creatures, to heal the wounds we have inflicted upon it, and to pass on a world that is not depleted, but replenished, restored, and thriving.
5. Compassion is the core of our shared humanity. We declare that compassion is not a virtue reserved for our fellow humans alone, but a guiding force for all beings. We will stand in solidarity with the vulnerable, whether human or animal, whether in the air, the sea, or on the land, and work together to alleviate suffering and to ensure justice, dignity, and respect for all living creatures. 6. We commit to sustainable progress. We recognize that true progress does not come at the expense of future generations. Our pursuit of innovation, wealth, and development must be tempered with wisdom and foresight. We commit to creating systems that are not only economically viable, but also ecologically sustainable, socially just, and spiritually fulfilling. 7. We seek harmony, not conquest. We reject the notion that humanity's purpose is to dominate or conquer the earth. Instead, we choose to live in harmony with the natural world, to learn from its rhythms, and to adopt practices that foster mutual flourishing between all beings. We seek to restore balance where it has been lost, and to build a future grounded in respect, collaboration, and empathy. 8. We are one global family. We affirm that our planet is one, and its resources belong not to any one group or nation, but to all of humanity. The suffering of one is the suffering of all, and the joy of one is the joy of all. We commit to transcending the divisions of race, nationality, and ideology in the pursuit of a common good, a world where every person has the opportunity to thrive in dignity and peace. Therefore, we commit to live with greater awareness of the needs of the earth and all its creatures, to act with humility, knowing that our actions today shape the world of tomorrow, to stand united in the face of challenges, working together for the restoration of the planet's health and the well-being of all its inhabitants, to foster a global community where cooperation, respect, and love for life reign supreme. This is our collective declaration. It is not merely words on a page, but a call to action. A call to rise above the divisions and short-sightedness that have too long governed our choices. We are interdependent, and in that interdependence we find our greatest strength. May this declaration of interdependence guide our journey toward a future where all life is cherished, where humanity flourishes in harmony with the earth, and where our legacy is one of stewardship, compassion, and enduring peace. Signed, a unified humanity.
Now I know it's lofty, right? Who felt that was a lofty statement? But was there something you could hold on to? Was there at least one thing in that you could hold on to and say, okay, I'm going to take that away this week? So hold on to whatever it was spoke to you in that declaration of interdependence, even if it was small, because spiritual freedom grows through small practices. And interdependence grows through small choices. And hope grows through small openings. And compassion grows through small acts. Let us say together this prayer. Infinite Spirit, may we live from the truth that we belong to one another. May we strengthen the bonds that hold us together. May our love honor our interdependence, and may we trust the divine life within us, resilient enough for uncertainty and present enough for whatever this moment asks of us. And so it is. Amen. Deep breath. And so now let us say together, I am a beloved child of God, here to be an ambassador of good. Yes, indeed. And so now it is time for our sharing. And so I invite you to take your gift to your heart. If you're giving on phone, we'll have the code up in a minute. But let us say together, I am a joyful sharer of my good. I remember that as I give, I receive, and that God is my source. And so thank you, Divine Spirit, for all who are giving. And if you are giving online, we are also grateful. And we're grateful for those who are traveling, who decide, yes, I will give as well, even while I travel. We are so very, very grateful, because without you, there is no unity of Tempe. We are supported by donations, and we are grateful. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So just want to remind you about our prayer Zoom call on Thursdays at 9:30 a.m. It is a wonderful time of connection and prayer. Let us say together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. It's well with my soul, and I am grateful. Beloveds online, thank you for joining us. We do wish you a week of peace and greater awareness of your interdependence.